Seconds, welcome to A-Side Boxing. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our first episode. This platform is designed to give you a boxing perspective from a fan's view. We're going to talk about a lot of content. My brothers, Marlon Parker, Carlos Massey, the three of us, we're the hosts, and we're going to hopefully entertain you through the dialogue. Today's special guest is none other than one half of the Twin Towers, Mr. Mykal Fox.
What's going on, everybody?
All right, let's go. So, without further delay, how you been, man?
I've been great, man. I've been fantastic.
Oh, yeah?
Been waiting to fight again, but you know.
Yeah. What's that like, man?
What?
The weight.
The weight? Oh yeah, the weight. I mean, you just gotta keep yourself busy. You stay in the gym, you know, so you can stay ready, like just for any opportunity that pops up. So meanwhile, in the gym, in between being in the gym, training some clients, as well as doing some commentary jobs. I have an upcoming commentary job on a club show in Atlantic City, hosted by Thomas Lamana, Gregory Outlaw in the main event.
Nice. Well, tell us what's the difference between training for a fight and just training to be ready.
Well, the biggest thing, so it's all really mental. Like when you say someone says they're in training camp, it's not necessarily that you went somewhere and pack up and go to Colorado or go to Florida or anything like that. It's a mindset where you have an opponent. You know who you're getting ready for. So now the intensity of training picks up, and you want to have a difference between training camp and just training to stay in shape, because you want to feel the difference in intensity. Otherwise, by the time training camp rolls around, if you've been hitting the gym really hard the entire year, you might fizzle out at the most important part. Like you might be 3 weeks away from training camp, you might fizzle out, or you might get an injury, anything like that. You've been working your body, you push your body too hard for too long, and that's the biggest difference. It's a mentality that you get into. That you got to be able to flip on and flip off, and tone, or not even flip on, flip off, tone it up, tone it down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know you said it's a mentality. So, what are some of the things you do to mentally prepare yourself when you enter into a fight? Whether it be routine or some things you picked up over the years.
Well, getting into that is, like I said, it's really like sometimes outside of camp you might miss a day to take care of something in your personal life, things like that. It's not that big a deal, but your coaches, the energy in the gym, it all kind of changes. We're moving towards a goal now. So for me personally, if I have a fight, let's say I had a fight in June, nothing past June 15th or whatever the Saturday is going to be, I don't look past that. You know what I mean? Anything after June 15th, for example, I haven't thought that far ahead. My thought process stops at June, and then we turn back over to, your regular life. Now that stuff the stuff in your personal life doesn't end, but it doesn't take priority over what I'm here to do. This is my career. This is me working, so gotta work.
Yeah, gotta pay the bills.
No, that's nice. That's nice. So tell us about the fan. I want to know about the fan, Mykal Fox. We've had a few great boxing shows in the past few months. Mr. Lamont Roach Sr. Had an outstanding fight card at the
Roach
and also Tony Jeter. Jeter Promotions, they had an outstanding card as well at Maryland Live. They always throw great cards. Who are you looking at coming up in the amateurs, or do you even look at the amateurs? And
yeah, I definitely still watch the amateurs. I was actually in Fredericksburg, Virginia yesterday for some amateur fights. I was helping my father with a couple amateurs he has. As far as the Jeter card, I mean, I knew pretty much everybody on that card. But like, you know, standouts, Damon Nicholson, whom I helped in his preparation for his fight. Jordan and John White, that's Jordan's father. They're practically family. Like, you know, if you ask John White, honestly, if you ask John White about what he thinks about Lantes and Mykal Fox, he'll have nothing but good things. He'll have nothing but good things to say. So, you know, and the same thing goes how we speak on Jordan White. But the biggest thing is he's very supportive of what we doing, and we're very supportive in what he and Jordan are doing. As far as Lamar Rose Sr., another person I've known since I was a child. Me and his son Lamar Rose Jr. fought 5 times in the amateurs. So, you know, another guy, another family that's like family. You know, congratulations to them on throwing their first card. Mm-hmm. Also, shout out to Sugar Wayne, Dwayne Holmes. We've been waiting a long time to see him make the big jump, and he did it in an amazing fashion. TKO in the 3rd round on the Rosecroft card and by North Hughes Promotions. And what I found out too is George Foreman fought at Rosecroft.
Get out of here!
I swear.
Are you serious?
Wow. He probably looks the same.
That's right. So he fought there. Yeah, he fought there. You can look it up on BoxRec.
Oh, I'm looking it up.
I knew. I was like, what? Yeah, no, really.
Wow, that's hey. You learn something every day.
Exactly. Right. You fought Lamont Roach 5 times.
5 times in the amateurs.
How do you prepare for that? Because you're a nice guy. We've had conversations with you. How do you get into the mode? I've got to hurt this guy, or I have to beat him. I don't care who he is to me.
Well, I mean, as kids, you know, at the end of the day, it's youth sports. Let me say this: it's youth sports, and so amateur boxing is youth sports. So all it is we're going in there. We're going to win. We want to win. It's competition. I honestly, youth sports is honestly, no disrespect to anybody, is ruined by the parents. It's only when parents get in their feelings. So it's not a thing. It was not a thing for me to fight Lamont 5 times. It's just like looking at it kind of like recess. You know what I mean? You just go. We're gonna go. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. We're gonna compete. You know, he won 3 of them. I won 2 of them. Whatever. Yeah. Especially at this age now, I'm 26. So at this age now, it's like it was all worth it. Like for the experience that we gained in fighting each other. I fought him. I fought Devontae Tank Davis 3 times in the amateurs. Those are like 2 of the most noteworthy names I can give y'all. You see where Tank is. Mm-hmm. Lamont is highly ranked by the WA, ranked in the top 10 by WA, as am I. So, you know, nice. it all works.
Iron sharpens iron.
Yeah. So how does it work when you pro and you've been pro for a while and you run into one of your friends or something like that? Is it man, you know, no love lost, let's do it, or do you try to avoid those fights?
You mean in
the pros?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we you know, honestly, anybody that, you know, if my promoter or manager was to offer a name that was, you know, a local guy, more than likely I'll probably spar him to get ready for whoever I'm about to fight from Cali or Venezuela or Mexico or wherever. So I mean, it's never really our first option. But when it gets to a point that, you know, a title eliminator or a world title opportunity, that gets pushed to the side. And for this time, and for this 6 to 8 weeks, what we know about each other, being friends and everything, that doesn't matter. And then after the fight, however it goes, we both should walk away with a nice amount of money. We back to being cool friends again. You can ask Damon Nicholson. He fought Emmanuel Aline. They fought in the amateurs. You know, they fought as pros. They fought to a draw. After that, all right, we back to taking on everybody else.
Great.
So what are the fans missing, man? You always wanted this, man. Of course, you know, I haven't followed boxing as a fighter, so I'm not really getting into the business of it. I was amateur decades ago, right? But watching it on TV, man, the inner fan in me has grown increasingly frustrated with the notion that it seems that the promoter is put ahead of the fighter. Like, nobody wants to see the promoters fight. Actually, I remember a time, and this was the golden age of boxing, but you didn't know who the promoters were. It was the fighters, and they seemed like they were the shot callers. Nowadays, it seems that promoters are, at the forefront, right? Before you say anything, it's always the business of boxing rather than the fighters themselves. I pay my money for pay-per-view. I pay to see the fighter. That is my real-life superhero when he laces up the gloves, because I remember a time when hearing my name, Ray Massey to the glove table, man, heart was beating hard. And I knew it was go time. And to my 5 fans that follow me, I was their hero, man. I was the greatest. But I look at some of these fighters today, and like Lil B-Hop, and even though he took a loss on his last fight, these guys are like my modern day real life heroes. And a lot of times you see the promoter just hop in front on the mic and they give their whole spiel. What happened to the days of when the fighter got on there and said, "Hey, I want to fight you," and it happened? Like Sugar Ray Leonard, Marvin Hagler, Tommy Hearns, those type of things. Do you think those days will ever come back?
I think they can. I've kind of gotten this question before. I think, let me say this, I think the worst thing that probably happened in boxing was like exclusivity, as far as, Golden Boy, Oscar De La Hoya, Eddie Hearn with Matchroom.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
They signed exclusive deals to DAZN. Top Rank, Bob Arum signed exclusive deals to ESPN, ESPN Plus. Al Hammond signed with PBC, is exclusive with Fox and Showtime. I think that was the worst thing to happen to boxing. Those big fights that y'all want to see, that we all want to see, because I'm a fan. I'm also a fan of this sport as much as I'm involved in it. Take Terrence Crawford versus Earl Spence. That fight could have happened, but Bob Arum and Al Hammond, they not vibing. So you got the promoter and advisor / manager and whatnot. It's like they're not even on speaking terms. Oftentimes, sometimes Bob Arum acts like Al Hammond doesn't even exist, and vice versa. PBC will put up a graphic of the welterweight champions and totally omit Terrence Crawford, like the WBO belt didn't exist. What I'm saying? Like it doesn't exist at all. Right. So I think really that's the worst thing, until promoters can, bite, promoters and the fighters, because the fighters are going to want to get every dime they can, which I respect completely. But these promoters, like, they got to get promoters, managers, all that. Those guys, they got to get on the phone or get into an office and negotiate these fights, so they can at least say, "Joe, we did everything on our end." Mm-hmm. They can both say we did everything on our end. Mm-hmm. It's up there. Then when it's time to start pointing fingers at the fighters, like, "Yo, what you trying to do? Why are you trying to fight? Mm-hmm. There's money involved. There's this, there's that." As far as, but it's, of course, yes, it's a business, and promoters are going to want to make a promoter's job is to make as much money as they can without shelling out as much as too much. Otherwise, it's a loss.
Exactly.
They're losing on the business end.
Mm. And just to piggyback off that, we have to remember as fans, even though we don't like it, the promoter has a duty of loyalty to the fighter. Absolutely. And to make as much money for that fighter. And sometimes you have these carefully crafted careers that we boo as fans, but he's keeping this guy reasonably safe, and he's maximizing his potential, the payments, the revenue. He's increasing revenue.
Fighter, as far as promoter and fighter relationship is, a fighter is also an investment. You gotta look out this investment. You don't want to jump them out there too early.
Exactly.
They don't want to jump out there too early. But you gotta push them out there so you can start making making some money back on your investment. So you know, you see, like, but in order for a promoter to get their money back on investment, they gotta put their fighters in with the right dance partner. I mean, you know, I remember Bob Arum went on record saying Terrence only sells out in Nebraska. Yeah, which may or may not be true, but look at who you put him in. You put him with Jeff Horn. Nobody you beat. You know him from beat Pacquiao. You try to sell a pay-per-view with him fighting Amir Khan, Kell Brook. You know, Terrence needs the right dance partners, and in order to get the right dance partners, you have to be willing to work with PBC.
Yeah,
Terrence still brings the belt. Terrence versus Thurman still would be a good fight. Terrence versus Garcia. I mean, you can say. I think Terrence would probably win that easily, but it's a name on the resume. You know what I mean? Ugas, Terrence versus Ugas. All of those fights to me would sound pretty good, especially at a time where Danny still had his belts and stuff. That would have been a great fight. You know what I mean? When he still had his WBC title, or he still had a name, he's still high up in the rankings. Terrence versus Sean was a great fight. So Terrence is in a position when he's with Top Rank. You're in a position where all the marquee, big name welterweights are on that other side of the field or on that other side of the street. Somebody got to cross it. Right. Somebody got to cross it.
Yeah, and on the other side of that street, boxing is a business. So, you know, like you said, the promoters there to protect their investment to get the maximum return.
Yeah.
And we as fans, we're on the outside just looking in like, this one don't work. These definitely work.
And my last thing on that, look what they did. Look at how the cards they put together when they, you know, when Wilder and Tyson Fury fought those 3 times. Those are all 3 great cards. They had some great undercard fights, you know, and they're working together. They're working together. They're working together, and the fan base, the fans are happy.
Who has the final say though? Who has the final say? Is
ultimately, it's the boxer. I believe ultimately it's the boxer. I gotta sign that contract.
Right.
Nobody you can't force me manhandle me into signing it.
Right.
You know, so but I mean, me personally, I feel that, you know, fighters typically don't turn down fights at a certain level. At the level I'm at now, I don't turn down fights, and I don't believe that fighters turn down fights. Now, that fighter's team, somebody on that fighter's team might turn down that fight, and word might never get to that fitter. You say, Fox, this kid Fox or Massey want to fight. Yeah, you want Massey? Nah, we ain't gonna let him fight. I don't even want Los to know that we offered Ray Massey to him. I don't even want to know that because he's gonna be mad at us. You know, I believe that kind of thing happens. Like, you know, it's like where they say, yeah, I'll fight him. Like, Joe, it's not the right time yet. You know what I mean? And if you say I want that fight, and it's like now the promoter has to decide, like, I gotta make it and just hope he kind of wins. Kind of hope he wins. Yeah.
Talking about responsibility for decisions, Los, who's responsible for your jewelry? You had an option to not wear any of that.
Yeah. This is doing way too much shining right now.
Hey man, look, who's responsible for that extra small?
This is actually extra large. He's on his diet. This is
bulking up.
Oh man, so other question, man. Just kind of rapid fire, man. Who's your favorite non-boxing athlete, and why?
Oh. Well,
we may have to edit this because if it's me, it'd be women's softball.
my favorite non-boxing athlete. I mean, I think I like the usuals. You know, Kobe, Jordan, LeBron.
You only give one.
Of all of them.
Yeah.
Don't get yourself in trouble.
I like Kobe. I like Kobe for the player that he was, but also, you know, I had a lot of respect for the person he was outside of the off of the court. I was about to say outside the ring, off the court, just because family man, raise his kids, involved in helping women's basketball. Obviously, because he had a daughter. He's going to want her to be able to earn more. And I liked. I like when he talks and because when he talks, any athlete that talks, you delve into their mind. I like that. I like how transparent he was after his career. I would have said probably Jordan, but until the last dance, Jordan didn't just really chat and tell you a bunch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
He was it's like he wanted to kind of keep that mystique he always had, where coach I was going through this, but I was playing like this, but it all makes sense.
Okay, so fan question of the day. So I like to break out this last portion to talk about kind of an interactive part of our podcast to get your take on it. So, does a southpaw's style pose a significant advantage in this era of boxing? We know in the past it did, but does that still hold value? From the A side, I'm going to tell you my perspective. Yes, southpaws are the best. You're watching 3 southpaws. 1, 2, 3. He doesn't count. He's right. He's different.
I'm just the brain here.
But
he appropriated the stance.
There you
He
go.
appropriated the stance.
There you go.
Appropriated the stance. He Chris Columbus the stance.
There you go.
right.
He both handed.
right. So if you agree, put a boxing glove in the comment section. If not, if you think it's cap, put a blue cap and tell why though. We want to know why. Let's get the champ's perspective on it. What do you think?
Honestly, because of how many southpaws there are now, I say no. You can find. I know as a southpaw it sounds crazy. It sounds crazy, but let me say it like this, because I've coached amateurs before too, and I've been in other gyms where where the coach has kind of brainwashed the fighter, his fighters into thinking that, oh man, southpaws are more dangerous. They're more dangerous. I don't believe that it kind of exists no more anymore. Only because so many people are southpaws, either they're right-handed southpaws or they're natural southpaws. They can be they're easier to find. So if you need one if you need one in camp, they're not as hard to find. I remember there was a time I watched Pernell Whitaker's debut, and they were trying to explain to the audience, for those of you who don't know what a southpaw is, if you look at Whitaker, he fights with his right foot forward and his right hand forward. And, you know what I mean? We don't. Nobody has to. You don't have to explain that to nobody no more. Try to explain that to nobody no more. And the biggest thing too, I say to as a coach, I tell fighters, I said like a conventional fighter, anything that you think this southpaw can do, whatever angles he take, you can do the same thing to him. It's a mirror match. You know what I mean? It can be a mirror match. Whoever, I feel like whoever has the better jab is going to take that outside foot position, and once you pivot out onto that outside, to that outside of that lead foot, southpaw or conventional, whichever fighter does it first is going to gain the advantage. It shouldn't be as mysterious anymore because southpaws can be found more regularly.
Oh, okay, true. Well, on that note, do you have any parting words? Any shout outs you need to get? Any followers?
Shout out to Coach Troy Fox. Shout out to Alontes Elijah Fox. Greg Outlaw's fighting March 26th in Atlantic City. Yeah. Shout out to my teammate Gregory Outlaw. Shout out to the entire DMV boxing scene. Everybody that's working and representing our area well, from Lamar Roach, Jordan White, everybody. Trayvon Marshall, he's up next. Also, I think March 26th. Also, so shout out to Trayvon Marshall. Mm-hmm. That me and him spar regularly when he's in need of southpaw. Mm-hmm. So and shout out to his coach Andrew Council. I'm gonna miss somebody. So follow me on Twitter at Professor Mike with a Y, on Instagram at Professor Mike. I'm active. I'm mostly active on both of those.
All right, now this concludes our episode of A-Side Boxing, and we're out.
See you next time.